Hey, I'm going to share a little life hack that I discovered myself. So, if you're working in a creative industry with books or writing, with movies or games or such, this may be a good thing for you. Especially if you're doing it alone as a hobby or such, but maybe even on the professional industry as well. The thing is that I try to keep myself hungry for more each day. And that's the thing. I don't try to do all on one sitting for each day, even if I feel like it. I should stop before it's starting to feel bad. I often feel that I have so much energy in building the stuff that I do, be it the next chapter for my book or that one music clip which needs a little more fine tuning before I can call it complete. But I've come to realize that spending all of your energy every time you feel like it is a very consuming path to take. I need to leave that little hunger for each development phase before feeling depleted. By doing so, I'm able to keep the excitement for me with me for the next round, which often means the very next day. It's like leaving reserves for future actions and not spending all and then trying to regroup during the evenings and maybe sometimes even during the night just to get my brains refreshed for the next day. It sounds rather obvious when put on the paper, but in practice, it's hard to do. I often feel kind of so motivated to do the next thing until completion because I feel that bring me a very good feeling for the rest of the day. But I came to realize that it's quite the opposite very often. I push to my limits and force myself to do it when it's finally complete, my energies are depleted and I spend rest of the day within some sort of a brain fog or not being present at all. Just feeling tired. And to add to that, still see a lot of things I should have done for the next thing. So creating art or doing brain challenging things is very hard to consider as complete. I can always see things that I could improve. I thought that the brains are just like any muscle in our system. If you, as an example, go to a gym and do a training until failure and deplete all of your energy from one of your or a couple of your muscles, you are not supposed to be doing that same muscle the next day, or maybe not even in a couple of days. I feel that the brain is no different. If you deplete all of its energy on one day, you need rest. You just physically cannot do it the next day, at least on the same pace that you did yesterday, because you're feeling tired. Obviously, there are times when there are deadlines and such, and I need to push to my limits, but when I do that, I need to prioritize the rest for the most important muscle of mine, which is the brains. But the goal is that I try not to push to my limits on most of the days. I often try to keep some energy available for the next day, and when I'm able to do that, I often myself energized to start the next day rather than feeling overwhelmed of all the work and undone work that I need to do. And when being able to do that, I would call that much more sustainable way to keep doing the stuff that I love, rather than burning myself out and starting to hate my work because of the growing feeling of I can't do it anymore. So take care of your most important muscle. Take care of your brain. Don't overdo the stuff that you love doing. Keep yourself a little hungry for more. To keep yourself ready for the years to come to work with your passion. And I know that it is hard to leave stuff on the table, since at least I find myself thinking that why don't I get the motivation to do this? This is the thing that I'm supposed to be loving. But instead of questioning your whole life and your dreams, maybe it's just because you've burned yourself out with too much work. Since there is no clear progress bar to determine how much energy we have left and how it's very different for all of us. So not only depend on your life situation, but because we are all individuals, we all work differently. So because of that, you need to study yourself and your limits. No one can tell you where your limits are. It's a practice we need to do while listening to ourselves and setting boundaries to our actions, our own actions. So next time you feel overwhelmed with all the work, so think about it. Maybe it's not because because the work is crap and you hate it. Maybe it's just because you've gone too far with your own limits. And when you stumble and go over the limits, don't get too carried away. Reserve time for rest and get energy for the things that are maybe not related to your passion. I'm rather confident in saying that the love for your work will come back, depending on how badly you stretch your limits. It may also take a lot of time to recover. So, in case you want to hear more of my findings when working alone with my art projects and solo game development, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Connect me on LinkedIn or join my Patreon as a free member. I try to post these kind of a smallish posts on the spot when I figure out something valuable, or at least when I feel like I've discovered something valuable. But obviously, you're the best one to say if there's any value in this. So be sure to tell that in comments as well, or at least hit the like button. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great week, everyone. Cheers, thank you, and bye-bye.